However, I lied last weekend, and you held up your part of the promise because you watched Supercross and I did not.
Correct.
So tell me everything that happened in Denver.
Yes, correct. Nice. AMA Supercross Denver. We were back on the West Coast side, so we had the West Coast boys for the 250 SX.
Last time, right?
No, so because they all come together again for Salt Lake City.
Is that next time?
Yes, next time is the last time, but that's like the championship showdown essentially. So everybody is coming together again,
everybody.
which I was wrong about last weekend. I had a feeling there was a showdown, but I was like, wait.
I thought that's how I had remembered it last year too, but you convinced me with your lies.
But anyway, so Denver, but we were going into this weekend, of course, we knew that the championship between Cooper Webb and Chase Sexton for 50SX was close, but Cooper definitely had a good lead ahead.
Especially after winning last race, right?
Exactly. And then for the 250SX guys, Hayden Deegan definitely had a good amount of a lead ahead of Cole Davies, the 17-year-old. There was a chance going into this weekend that Hayden Deegan would take the overall championship title. So let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
So first off, very quickly, the two heats for the 250 SX, we had Hayden Deegan ended up winning his heat. Pretty solid heat on his end. Joe Shimoda had a little bit of bad luck at the beginning of the heat, and I was like, oh my gosh, he has to go into last chance qualifiers now that he's finally healed again. But he was able to move through the track really nicely, and he ended up coming in 5th in his heat.
Nice.
Which
so
is excellent.
Enough to qualify.
So he didn't have to qualify. Garrett Marchbanks ended up getting the whole shot at first, but he was then passed by Hayden Deegan eventually. So. Then for the second heat, we had Cole Davies in this one. He ended up getting the whole shot and took the win of that heat ahead of his teammate. Moseman, actually, the first 4 of that heat were all on Yamahas.
Oh, wow.
Which was,
interesting.
It seemed to be, which was also interesting. So they're in Denver. So they're at a little bit of higher elevation, which I didn't realize made quite the impact on the bikes. So they had to make certain adjustments to the bike to make them ready for this weekend's races.
I would have not thought that the altitude would affect the race or the bikes. That's very interesting.
I don't know all the details. I know it has something to do with like the engine and things like that. But I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I hadn't even thought that would make... it makes sense that it makes an impact on the people.
Yeah, I knew that.
The athletes, like elevation, like it's...
I know that's also a common thing, elevation training, right?
Yes.
If you want to do your conditioning and stuff like that.
Exactly. So like that makes sense. I mean, not that it doesn't make sense that they had to adjust the bikes. It was just not something that I had thought about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but it seemed like the Yamahas were quite doing well on the track. So then, of course, going into the main event for the 250, it was really important. So Hayden Deegan going in as the leader. There was a chance that if he wins and Cole Davies comes 5th or lower, he will take the championship right then and there. If not, then it will be the final showdown in Salt Lake City coming up. So going into this, of course, big weight on the race. Of course, we also have Julien Beaumer in there. But I don't think he was quite as much in contention anymore. They were also talking about that he seemed to be in a better... mental or just space overall. The team had a chat with him because there was just a lot of distractions with Hayden Deegan and things like that.
I was wondering because there was all this talk and then nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And it's also talk to talk, but also like don't let that distract yourself from what is actually important, right? Don't let yourself be baited into these things, that will, potentially impact you negatively.
Exactly, correct. So, so going into this was a big race, of course. First off, we have Cole Davies getting the whole shot. Very exciting. I was personally, of course, rooting for Cole Davies. Also because neither of us are big Hayden Deegan fans.
We don't like him. That's not a secret. I mean, hey, he's a great writer, right?
Yeah,
But I'm not a fan.
Exactly. The track itself was really interesting. They had some, like, of course, whoops and rhythm sections and everything. It was, for the heats, it was a little bit slick because they had just wetted the track. But then for the actual main events, it was a little bit harder, the track again. But overall, I don't think it was, nobody had said anything that it was like significant, crazy, like difficult or anything like that.
No cross-rutting.
I mean, there was ruts and everything, and then the whoop section was a little bit lower. So there were maybe a little bit easier because of it. But anyway, so Cole Davies took the lead, and he was right in the front, right there. Hayden Deegan was a little bit further back. And then right behind Cole Davies, I'm trying to remember who was there. But anyways, Cole Davies rode in the front, which was so exciting. And he had ridden out like a couple seconds of a lead, which was nice. And then Hayden Deegan was making his way through the thing. I'm a little bit upset about how this ended.
Okay.
Yes. So we're like a couple minutes before the end of the race. Hayden Deegan gets really close. And of course there's a lot on the line for him. Like he was even talking about beforehand, like previously in the season, he wasn't going to do everything to get a win because he knew that consistency was key and he could win a championship that way. But because he hadn't won a race in the last couple of races, because Cole Davies had won, I think, the last 2 or 3, Hayden was like, well, I want to make sure that people know that I'm the fastest, in the 250. So he was kind of ready to do anything and everything to win. And I feel like that's what happened. And then so we go into, I think it's like the third to last lap. It's really close in timing too, because you know how when the checkered or when the time is out, depending on where they are in the track, they have to do either just one more lap or if they do 2 laps, right? And they get to they cross that line right before the time ends, so they have 2 more laps to go. And Hayden and Cole Davies are so close together. Then Hayden does like Cole is in the front, Hayden is behind him. They get really close. They do some battling, and then there was this left turn, and Hayden is on the inside, Cole Davies is on the outside, and it's like an elevated turn a little bit. So, and then instead of just staying on the inside and doing his turn, Hayden Deegan bumps into Cole Davies, which doesn't just stop him, it moves him down off the track.
Oh, wow.
So Cole Davies ended up coming in 5th. So that means Hayden Deegan won the 250 West Coast Championship.
Okay.
And I'm not the only one who is disappointed about this. The audience booed him.
Yes, get him.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, there was a moment where they're like, oh, the AMA is going to review this to make sure it wasn't like out of line. And the commentators were like, well, it's not really out of line. I mean, it's like, who cares what my opinion is? But,
I do.
Thank you. But I think it was too much. Like, I understand putting your body in, because something similar happened with the 450 SX guys, and I'll tell you that in a second. But his body check essentially didn't just stop Cole Davies' momentum. He moved him off the track, so he had to, and he was stuck under the bike for a moment, and then he ended up coming in 5th. So that ruined the whole race and his chances for the championship. Not that he had a huge chance for it, but at least like a little bit of a fighting chance. But then Hayden Deegan was in front of like a bunch of cameras, and he's like, oh, did I win? Because it wasn't like officially announced yet. And then he found out, and he was like, oh. And then audience were like booing. And then he was being interviewed on the podium, and people were booing him. And Cole Davies was visibly upset about it too, which I totally get.
Yeah.
And then he was like being interviewed about the incident and stuff like that. And he's like, well, yeah, I wanted to do everything I can to win. And if people can't understand this or can't take it, they could suck it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, whatever.
I mean, it's just like attitudes like this. It's like, like his fans are gonna love it, and
course.
people who don't like him or who are impartial, they're not gonna look favorably on this.
But it's also like, this is how you want to win your first 250 SX championship.
I mean, I guess also the thought process is like, would people like this, or like would competitors or athletes like by any means necessary? And then also maybe there are also the thought processes like, in 2 years no one's gonna think back and be like, well, how did he win this?
No, of course, that's true.
But
I will remember.
It's just, it is always, of course, also annoying if this happens when you're also not favorably looking onto a driver. And it's then also these comments. It's like, I get it that you're young, but you're also fucking annoying, dude. Like, just, you know.
But so unfortunately, he ended up winning the overall championship now. So the West Coast Boy Championship is already decided. Very quickly about the 450. Of course, going into it, you had unfortunately broken the news to me that Ken is out officially due to injury, which is just so sad.
Kenny,
But it's just, such a bummer. But so the 450 heat, the first one, very exciting. Malcolm Stewart took the whole shot, won the first heat. I think this was the second heat win of the season for him. Super exciting. Aaron Plessinger came in second. So that was,
and Malcolm also won by quite a bit, right? It was like a 5 seconds or some shit.
6 seconds, almost 7 seconds. So that was really, really nice. For heat number 2, Chase Sexton won his heat. Cooper Webb came in second. Justin Cooper came in third. Justin Cooper is also the one who ended up taking the whole shot at the beginning of it. But this track just seemed to lend itself to Chase very much. It just, like, he was so fast through the whoop sections, and he was like I forget what the commentator's name is, but he kept saying, like, Chase Sexton is like on rails, you know, because it was just like, there was no shaking, no wobbling. It was just like, he was so in control and locked in. So it was really, really fun to see. Then the overall, for the overall event, oh my gosh, Malcolm Stewart ended up getting the whole shot. And I was like, oh my God, is this going to be another day for Malcolm Stewart to end up on the podium? Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
He had a little, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened at the end, but it was close to the end where, he ended up turning his bike somehow. So he had to readjust it again to be back on the race line. So Justin Cooper ended up passing him. So Chase Sexton won, Cooper Webb came in second, and Justin Cooper came in third.
Almost I'm quite happy how much of a renaissance of a season Justin Cooper has here at the end of it, right? Not someone who has been like, for I think the last 2 seasons, that much in the like top 3 or 4, I think. We saw other people more occupying that spot. So it's kind of awesome to see him, finding that strength and hopefully also able to carry that over into Pro Moto, right?
No, for sure. And then also, this also gives him a chance to still take the 3rd place of the overall.
From Kenny away?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, I don't want it. I mean, Justin, I take everything back I just said.
Right now, there's only 10 points difference between Ken and Justin, and because...
Honestly, Justin... do it.
Yeah. It'll either be Justin Cooper or Malcolm Stewart.
Okay, I would prefer Malcolm,
or maybe both.
Yes,
depending on how it goes. But essentially, Cooper Webb is still leading the overall rider championship by 9 points ahead of Chase Sexton.
How many points do you get for P1? Do you know? Did I put you on the spot?
You put me on a spot. I don't want to say...
I can look it up.
No, I have it. I can look it up here. But there's still a chance.
But it can't be a 1-2, I'm assuming.
Okay, so I thought it was right. 25 points for number 1, and then 22 points for number 2. Wait, where?
So how far down would the difference need to be for Chase to still be able to win it? So Chase wins
5th.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Difficult.
Because 5th is 17 points, so that's 3, 8. Oh no, he has to be 6.
Wow, that's. I mean, if Cooper Webb doesn't win it, the championship, then honestly, something in the universe is against him.
Yeah,
because
it's also, he is very consistent. He's very strong.
Mr. Consistent. Yeah.
So it would take a lot. It would take, which I don't wish him, an injury.
No, I don't.
Or something like that, or he would have to get caught up in like the sauce at the beginning.
But then even so, you I would imagine, because like once again, also I always think that Webb is very strong in the second half of the race.
Yes.
That he would be able to, even if he would get caught up in the sauce, be able to carve his way through at least up to P6.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
P5.
And I mean, it also depends on what kind of track it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we did see in Foxborough, I think it was, where we had the crazy mud race. I mean, Cooper Webb had like an insane last couple of laps, right? So, I mean, I think more likely than not, he will be the 450SX champion. I think it will be his third title. Which is just such a bummer because Chase is just so strong too, but he's just made a few more mistakes this season,
right?
And that's what it is.
Sorry, do you still have the 250SX results up?
Or
do you know where Joe ended? Shimoda?
Here, let me tell you. He ended up fourth.
Oh, he didn't make it onto podium?
No, so it was Hayden Deegan first, Cole Davis second, and then Julian Beaumer third.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that was my 250 or my Supercross experience.
And then so next weekend already is the finale.
Yeah, so next weekend we have Salt Lake City. Let me just make sure. It's just like here. Yeah, May 10th. That's the showdown, East-West showdown, and the 450SX regular championship. So the big finale before they head outdoors.